Hey everybody, it's Baby Bear, and I have not done a talking video in a while. I wanted to make sure though that if I did a talking video, I wanted to address my heartfelt condolences to Turkey and Syria. We have a lot of Turkish friends on our server, and it's really devastating to them. They're very scared for their family and friends and not even being able to sleep at night without thinking that there could be an earthquake and the building will fall, and it's just a really devastating time for people to be going through. And so I think this message is nice because while it's not a donation to helping, these organizations to help with the rebuild of Turkey and Syria, it is a nice message to just remind people that there is real life tragedies in this world, not even natural disasters, but just people play this game that go through a lot, that have a lot of tragedies. Sometimes they just want to escape. And sometimes, people can be really cruel on these games. And just remember that it is just a game. And if somebody is in their own alliance, a 25 keep, you don't need to harass them to the point of, overkill. Because just remember that everybody is going through their own issues in life. And I think that is a really important message to just open this up with, because this is a hot topic that I'm going to be getting into. So again, my prayers to everybody from Turkey and Syria. I wish you all the strength and peace. Okay, so now getting on to the topic of this video. This is about the king and queen server rotation order, and this is the original order from when we were in the old ways. So I think you guys have heard me allude to in the new year there's going to be a lot of new changes. We basically were run by certain people on the server that only had very limited interest in helping the server grow. And a lot of the big players, actually most of the big players, weren't even in this room and did not have any voice at all. So you'll see here on the ranking that these people were not in the room. All these people here with the highest level generals were not in the room. Almost like all of them, anybody 7 and up, were not there. It was pretty crazy. I think maybe Easy was in the room, but I don't know how much he contributed or felt he could contribute. So just know that the main boss of the server is somebody with like a 5 million general. So just really wrap your head around that, okay? And just to show again, do you see the top players here based on power ranking? Now, power ranking is not everything. That's why I showed you the general power. But again, out of the top 10 here, I think only one was in the leader room. Tell me that is just not so backwards. And I have no problem with smaller players being in charge as long as they're not holding anybody back and there's progress. And here's a perfect example of a player under 500 million who contributes a lot to the server, built this Discord channel. It's so organized. It's all created by topic. It's very much, again, if somebody was contributing like this, there would be no issue, right? But what was happening is it was becoming a gossip room, a gossip circle that was not productive at all. And when there's so much that we could be doing on this server, and instead it was becoming like this hen circle, that was the problem. And not that I need to justify this, but again, here's an example of the hen chat. It gets really ridiculous, guys. This is over a comment in SVS chat where I've seen their players literally tell the other server to bubble and that they're not going to kill them. There's been so much said in that SVS chat. Anything that I say is always going to be a topic of KOSing and shunning me. And just remember, guys, I am one of the top players on our server. You see the SVSs, you see the all-stars. There is no need for it. It is just, it's coming from a place that is not helpful to the server. And hopefully people can finally see what's been going on at least you can see the real view of what is going on. And that is what I'm trying to show you. So Silver made the announcement because I know coming from me, it wouldn't be accepted. So again, had to have Silver Easy announce this to the server that there was going to be a server leadership change. And if that was me, trust me, that would not go over well. And just another example here, another person, another great player who's quitting the game because of all of this BS. And we lost Fallen, and then I think we lost Noof, which Noof was a fun player. I mean, he got tile hit 3 times by this alliance that no consequences happened. And that's the thing. It's like, why would you want to play here when a leader of an alliance tile hit and did something illegal and there was no consequences for them? So the consequences is people that are like that, they have no right to be in the server leadership whatsoever. So that is what we're doing for the new year, is we're uniting all of the big players. We're uniting all the alliances, even the alliance that, is polarized a bit because of that leader. We're all still trying to work together because it's pointless to be fighting internally. It's pointless. There's so many other events. There's so many other things that we can be doing that we should be focusing on. So going back to the server rotation. So what you see here are, you see people who have gotten their wonder, their top 5 wings, right? And then there's some nominations that you see. And the way that the nominations worked out, and this was at the time, this came in a world chat conversation, and the whole point was wonder players get king and queen rotation first, hands down. And what ended up happening was that people were nominating people that didn't have their wonder, and they were getting a turn before people with the wonder. And seeing this happen, a lot of us were just like, this is not good. This is not good for the server. It's not fair. And the whole point of the nomination was to give incentive to people to want to try to get their wings. It's not a handout. It's an incentive so that when their time comes, they can be more proactive in trying to get points for SVS. Now, the reason why we did this nomination was because a lot of people were complaining that they couldn't get their top 5 wings because a lot of matches are hard. A lot of times you don't have a throne truce. And so people that are trying to get their wings might as well not even play if they're a smaller player, if we have no throne truce, because the big players have to rally. So it is hard for the smaller players to compete against that. But it is also impossible to tell big players that they can't play at all, especially when they're trying to get their 500 million points and their Blood of Ares and gems and resources and things like that. So there has to be kind of a compromise. And so that idea was actually mine, that somebody else took credit for and then didn't actually carry over the most important thing, which is the wonder players have to go first. Hands down, they have to go first. And so I personally am very happy with the amount of people that have gotten their top 5. I think we have done a lot of good in helping people get their wings. But I do think that in order for people to get their wings, they have to be proactive about it. And I promised Talkster that I would shout him out on one of these YouTube videos. And I will shout him out right now. In War, they saw that we are making these changes for the server, and they wanted to be more proactive. And they asked, like, how can we help more for SVS? How do we do that? And a lot of times people are not ready to help with SVS until they get bigger. And so people just kind of have to do it at their own time. And obviously we have this huge lineup for people already. So the fact is they could be really proactive in SVS starting next week, and they might get their top 5. So they should be placed under the rotation of the wonder holders and not in the nominations. However, another alliance could nominate them if they find them to be super helpful in SVS. Like, spotting the Aries, spotting targets, doing scouts, sharing scout reports with buffs on them, resetting the throne when we need an alt or somebody else to reset the throne when we're doing throne battles, um, helping, prevent people from taking temples, doing the cat and mouse. There are so many things that people can do that is helpful for the big players and for just all of the server that would help them, get nominated if and get put into that order. And then if they get nominated, then they have all this time in the world to kind of work on getting in the top 5. And if they get in the top 5, then their nomination order would be moved up to that second list. So as you see here, it's 2 different lists. It's one list with the wonder holders and one list for the nominations. And the nominations are always going to be after the wonder holders. The other thing that we have made a factor is wonder holders need to have point positive score, okay? So they cannot be point bombing and getting negative points, because a couple of people have done that, and then costing the SVS, that type of thing. Where this is an exception is maybe, somebody got negative points, but they got, the top 5, but they have shown growth, or they have shown down the line that they have improved. They've gotten in the top 10 consistently in SVS. And then maybe somebody in their alliance, their alliance leaders recognize them being really proactive, and then they can nominate that person. So then if they get nominated, they have the wonder, and then they can move up into the wonder rotation. So that is basically how we maneuver the king rotation. It is really black and white. I feel like it's very fair. There's other servers that would probably prioritize bigger players, and a lot of big players have waited. I didn't get a rotation for a really long time. I think I was 15th. And I would recommend, guys, to never hold back your top players from getting a rotation. It was, to be quite honest, it's really shameful. It was shameful how they treated the situation. I mean, they started rumors like that I cheated for my top 5, and literally that was the first SVS, and I just played my butt off on the very last hour, and they even contacted the other server to confirm that I didn't cheat, and it was so demeaning. And it's like, why? I'm here to help the server. Every SVS I help, you'll see in that Triumphant Tower, you'll see that there was no reason for all of this stuff to happen, and it says so much more about them than me, and I know that. The only thing is that you only have a certain threshold for that, and poking a bear, and you poke that 1 millimeter too much, that will just unleash everything, right? And so this peaceful attempt to making our server leadership united is the last attempt, because I'm already learning all the war tactics. BK the Terrible is teaching me. He is really terrible, and he comes from an older continent. They're really ruthless on older continents, by the way. And I know that if it goes there, it'll go there, and I will be fine. But it will just be about, the smaller players, and about people not being able to do events internally. And I think that will suck for people. But at the end of the day, if it takes a fight or a war to get the peace, which is ironically, it's ironic, believe me, then that's what it takes. So that is basically all I had to say on this. Just a disclaimer, I'm not teaching you. I'm not trying to be a tutor. I am just sharing the experience that we have on our server and what we do. Feel free to let me know what you guys do. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know if you even like these talking videos. I personally like the music videos, but I was requested to do some more talking videos. And the other thing is, I have been holding back now on playing SVS because so many other people have stepped up, and I feel that eventually I think eventually the bigger players will get tired of playing SVS and it will allow other players to get their wings more. But right now, we have a great list. We have a long list of people. I think just keep trying to be proactive and keep friending people on the server. And the more we can work together, the more we're going to grow together. So that's all I have to say. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.